Hello, welcome to the Doggy Style Podcast. Join me, Al Berg, and my dog Lola on our adventures through Long Island and New York City. I'll be discussing all sorts of topics that you won't hear anywhere else. Okay, maybe you will. I talk about key principles of success, happiness, and we know we want happiness, persuasion, dogs, my life, some secrets, and many other interesting topics. Come on in. Put your seat back, kick off them shoes. Well, not if you're driving, of course. Take a deep breath, relax, get rid of that stress, and enjoy the ride. Hello, everybody. Alberg here with the Doggy Style Podcast, episode 52. Today is June 18th, 2018. It's a Monday. Just finishing off a weekend. Hope you all had a great weekend. Thank you. And it's a hot day in New York today. It's supposed to get into the 90s, I believe. Very humid. And today I wore my tan pants, which I pulled out of the closet. I'm wearing a short sleeve shirt. And my wife, the first thing she said was, "You're wearing that?" So not a good persuasive play. Now, I don't know what a better one would have been, but that wasn't a good one. That didn't persuade me to take it off. It got me angry. I was criticized. But anyway, she meant well. So this weekend, let's see what happened. Father's Day, happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. My father passed away. I'm not even sure how many years ago. Maybe 3, 4 years ago, on July 4th, I think. So I miss him. He was a great man. And my kids are getting older. And on Father's Day, I had a little argument with my older son, who is home. And it was, I guess I was a little insensitive, but I kind of believe he was angry at a game he plays called Fortnite. I could be wrong, but his anger was misplaced, I thought. I thought his anger was misplaced, but I'm sure he didn't think that. And I won't go into the details because it is kind of personal. But there is a certain thing of political correctness of what you can and can't say. Even on a podcast, you say the wrong thing on a podcast and people could want to kill you. It's crazy for voicing an opinion. So, so because somebody might want to kill me for voicing an opinion, I won't say my opinion. So, how much is freedom of speech worth? Not much. Okay, so let's see what else we have. I don't have a lot. Let's just see if I have anything on my list. As I slowly run across the street. It's not that bad right now. Fortunately, there's a lot of shade out. Okay, so at Father's Day at my sister's house, their pool was out, and it was a really hot day, probably one of the hottest days of the year. Not that I would have gone into the pool. I might have put my feet in it. So one of the hard things is I am on a diet, and I was doing well recently, catching my goal, but it just seems like a small little deviation, and it causes a big setback, which is not good. It's surprising. And I thought I didn't do bad because I skipped pizza. There was pizza there that I didn't eat. There was some sandwiches, and I pulled the bread off. But somebody had a dessert place, and then I guess I went loose and had too much dessert. Ice cream, cookies, cakes, which I wasn't supposed to eat. And my weight this morning was 173.8, which is much higher than I wanted. And it puts me pretty far back from my goal, almost, oi, as I'm running across the street. Hey, hey, thank you. Some guy sped up and onto the street as I ran. It could have gotten hit, so it's a little dangerous. Yeah, so it is a dilemma of what to do in these cases. But I looked at my trend and I saw that even though my weight was up a lot, if I couldn't pull it back down, I'll be doing okay. So I do have to focus this week on really pushing pushing it down back to my goal. So I guess I guess the plan is to juggle today at lunch and walk after work, which would mean if I do that, that means I'll have worked a 7-hour day. So I don't know if I really want to do that. Yeah, so interesting. I had mentioned misplaced anger. I think it's an interesting topic on how people tend to misplace anger. So if somebody seems really angry, then it's likely that the anger you're seeing is misplaced. It could be at a number of things or reasons for it, but I do think there's a lot of times where people will be angry at something and shoot that anger at you. I know I'm guilty of it. I think everybody is. Sometimes it's just we carry anger with us, and to let it out, we shoot it at people who really didn't cause the anger. So I'm going to run again. There's a very fast light coming up as I'm going to cross 23rd Street as I'm walking below a Dallas BBQ, which, by the way, if you want a nice cheap meal, they used to be cheap. I haven't looked recently, but oh, I'm going to make the light. Look at that. And I'm going to go inside this store and buy some bars. Pretty sure I'm low at work, so I might get 2 boxes, but at the same time, I don't know if I want to carry 2 boxes. Let's see what they have. So I'm on the vitamin shop. I'm opening it. Thank you. Mix and mix. So these are the second ones, 50% off? Oh, great. Okay. Okay. I see it. I got it. Thank you. Hmm. I'll get these. Hmm. It's too similar. Mm-hmm. Okay. There you go. Yes. Thank you. It's funny. 37.48. Thanks, you too. Okay, so got out of there. Now I probably should put the bag in my bag, which he gave me a small little bag, so it's fucking hard to carry. I'm gonna have to put it on my back and support the weight that way. So I got two boxes of protein bars. They were on sale. I might have gotten more. And here comes a puppy. It's okay. It's cute. So I didn't move. There was a puppy walking, and I did not move out of the way. And he bumped right into me. Woman said sorry. I don't know if you heard that. Yeah, so just walking in the city, always interesting. Kind of like it here. 8th Avenue, 21st Street area. A bunch of nice, it's funny that there's a shoe store, uh, custom framing, a pharmacy. Just seemed hard that a shoe store could stay in business. And one thing I've been noticing is that people have been putting, I don't know if that's the same one, these boxes that they put free newspapers in. People have been putting them on their side so they could charge their phones uh, on these Link New York City things. So in one way, I'm going to walk up the High Line, but I'm thinking I might be better off walking up 10th Avenue, which I might do today. And the reason for that is it's pretty sunny, hot, and might be a little shadier. But I guess the High Line's not that sunny because there is shade, there's trees, there's buildings. Okay, so I'm gonna, after I make this light and find a place to put my bag down, I will put my 2 boxes of bars in the bag that I'm gonna carry. Hopefully they won't melt in this heat. Yeah, it makes a difference. You step into the shade and it feels like it drops a good 10 degrees. There's a table here that I'm gonna use. Maybe not. So what else is going on today? Okay, so I was talking about my son, about, anger, misplaced anger. Yeah, it just seems very common for people to get angry about things. I got a little angry today. I was reading through Wikipedia, reading about hate groups, things that, the way Wikipedia is written, I don't like. Somebody says something, even if it's not true, it's quoted. So if the Southern Poverty Law Center, for example, said something negative about me, it would get quoted. That doesn't mean it's true or it's a fact. It's an opinion that they kind of try to turn it into a fact. This person has been called far right. I mean, that seems to be a term that's used a lot. Kind of lost its meaning. I mean, there are people who, I mean, obviously we can go as far right as you can, which is we're Nazis who tried to kill a whole religion, race, I guess they considered a race of people. So now is that far right? They were socialists, so maybe they were far left. So there's a number of ways they use language in a place like, and I'd be willing to bet that the guy who runs it, or at least the people that maintain its politics, are very, I don't want to say anti-free speech, but they're putting out a viewpoint. It didn't look like an unbiased article to me. It looked very biased. So now it could be biased because these groups make a valiant effort to do that. So we're there might be a group that goes out of their way to put a lot of effort into having a lot of people, mob mentality to criticize something. So, yeah, it is hot already. I feel the sweat coming down already. And it's funny, if somebody else makes, this is interesting. So, already I got a comment from my wife about what I'm wearing. Now, if I get a comment that people at work, yeah, you don't know. I mean, I'm not going to snap at these people, but I could see how you could say something. And so I don't know if I'm angry at my wife or so what she said, but if somebody at work says, "Oh, you're just so casual today," or I know a guy at work once said I looked like I was going to a soccer game. I mean, to me, that's something, and I could have said to somebody. So I don't know. You got to be careful. Somebody says that to me. Tell me about the beach party. It could be any joke. Somebody's making a joke. They think it's funny. So you got to be careful when you make a joke. Is the joke really funny? Listen, we were going through a fucking red light. I see a red light. Jesus Christ. So just a couple cars went through red lights. Sorry. Okay, so it's a cute dog walking. Reminds me of my doggy. Hey, doggy. What a cutie. Um, this bag's heavy. So it's heavy because I added 2 boxes of stuff to it. Okay, so I would like to make this podcast a little bit more fun for myself. Actually, I was going through of an old podcast, and it was helpful. Actually, interesting. I'm seeing 4 police outside of Google building. I don't know if something's going on there, or there's a planned anti-Google protest. Hmm. Interesting thing. Two girls, young girls, must be, I'm going to say, 10, 11, walking with a hockey stick and hockey bags. It was interesting on this hot summer day. Like, okay, so one of the things I wanted to listen to was a Sam Harris interview with a guy named Douglas Murray. Um, and I'm sure Douglas Murray is labeled as far right. Some people, I think, say Sam Harris is far right also. So, what do you know? So, if I was trying to persuade somebody um, of either a far right or far left, it would be interesting to come up with um, both statements. But one of the key things is to overcome objections. So if I'm trying to sell my son on, say, my beliefs, I'd have to be prepared with what his objections were and how to overcome them. And then to try, I mean, again, I could be wrong, so prove me wrong. We should talk facts. If something is good for the country to bring in a certain group, is that good for the country or is it bad for the country? Or is it just doesn't matter? Aw, there's an older dog. Cute. So one of the things I have written down is I do want, in 2008, not an overreaching goal, but I would like to be able to juggle 5 balls, which means I need to buy some better juggling balls and practice. Um, the other thing is I have to really think about if this podcast is worth doing, um, or find a way to really reduce the time that it takes me to do it. which could be I just do the audio and I've been saying get somebody to put it together with a picture. I mean, it seems like it's pretty cookie cutter. Make a picture. So I guess what would I pay per podcast? Would I pay five? I guess if I paid $5, that wouldn't be bad. I mean, for $100, I'd get 20 podcasts out of it. Consider that. So I could try on Fiverr. There's a website called Fiverr, and I'd have to have some way that somebody would be able to create the video. I'd have to figure out how to allow them to do this, give them the content, give them the instructions, and then for $5 they would load each of my podcasts for me. So during Father's Day, I was chatting with my sis, and she was doing a lot of complaining about her pains. And I was just thinking about how, number one, nobody wants to hear about your pains. I mean, I'm sure I've done it too. And number two, it probably encourages her to be in pain by just talking about it all the time. So it just would seem that if you are in pain, and again, I don't know if the study's been done on this, I would suggest don't talk about it. Try to ignore it or just accept it and just go on and enjoy other things in your life. If you feel pain doing something, that's your body's way of saying don't do this. And this is where kind of acceptance comes in. So now I've had some pains, and I guess the concern is if you're diagnosed with something like, arthritis, bone on bone, you'll hear. And she also said she's allergic to the chemical, I guess, they can inject. I mean, with all these things, it's just setting you up for a very unhappy experience. So I was just saying, so I've had some pains recently, but they seem to have gone away, which is good. Yeah, so I am a little disappointed at what I accomplished this weekend. Again, there was just too much time I feel spent on the podcast. So on one hand, the podcast seems to be a very good procrastination technique. On the other hand, there's a lot of things I wanted to do. So I should figure out what I didn't do that I wanted to do. Now, I made a small to-do list. I will go through it. I'm trying to get across the street right now. Thanks. Thanks, man. Yeah, so let's see. What was I supposed to do? And by the way, if you do like my stuff, please like and subscribe. It really does help. Or leave a comment. I really do want to hear from you, positive or negative. Please help me if you think anything you want to say. I really would appreciate it. So let me bring up. Okay, so I am now climbing the stairs at the High Line. So if you hear a little huffing and puffing, I was just reading a sign. There was a sign about whether you could sell something in the on the High Line as a vendor. Okay, so I did have a to-do list from the 17th, and it had 14 items on it. So I was supposed to mow the front lawn. I didn't. I was supposed to pick up poop. I didn't. So the whole process whew, of doing the podcast took a lot of time, and so I wasn't able to do these things. Um, Mow the back lawn. Now I was reading a book on goals. I think the author's name is Pettigrew, and he suggested you write down what causes you to suffer, and then write down the opposite, which is a goal. Interesting. I should do that right now. Since I didn't do it this weekend. Oh, there's a person with rollerblades on here? I don't know if you're allowed to. And then how do you even figure out what the opposite is? So I guess going to my PIM in the morning, the place I make money, makes me suffer. So my goal is to, I guess, would be to not have to come here. Yeah, that actually, that's true. So that did work. Um, Another thing is to be able to do the podcast and get stuff done. So that could be more of a time balancing. Yes, I'm starting to really drip. It is hot here, but I'll just have to sweat and wipe. Fortunately, there is a bathroom I could stop at, and in that bathroom I could wipe myself down a little bit. Um, so what else makes me suffer? So you can obviously you can do this too. The book was pretty cheap, I would say. It was, I think the guy's name, it was something about goals, and I'm going to say the guy's name was Pettigrew. So I would recommend it so far. Got a lot of good reviews on Amazon. And for 99 cents, how can you go wrong, even if you don't even read it? It's something that would be useful. I guess right now I'm suffering a little bit because I have a. I was cleaning my teeth the other day, and some of the plaque came off, and I have very sharp edges, and I keep playing with it with my tongue, and my tongue's getting all cut up. So my goal could be to not play with my rough plaque edges or to get my teeth cleaned at the dentist. Another way is uh, is that some people I know in my life are very anti-Trump. I mean, to an extent that the things that I enjoy uh, just trigger them. So, and I feel like I suffer from that. So my goal would be to either resolve the issue. Yeah, but there's kind of little I can do. I don't think I can get them to change their mind, or I can try. But they have a point. I mean, I think I understand. Say, I could understand why they would hate Donald Trump, but to not see any arguments pro Donald Trump shows me kind of a Trump derangement syndrome that's created by the media in a way. What else? Um, I mean, I guess I would like to have more friends. So I don't know if it's suffering, but that could be a goal to get more friends, and I have seen that. I'm really not suffering in terms of money. Maybe that's why I've been reluctant to go forward with my Excel idea. It's interesting how doing a podcast like this and creating it seems so much more fun than doing the Excel thing. I wonder if I just spent a little time. Okay, so what my goal would be with this Excel thing is to allocate, I just have to do 5 minutes a day, 5 minutes to 1 hour per day on it. And I think just getting into a habit, I think I'm really a creature of habit. And when I don't have a habit, it makes it very hard to do that thing. Once I get that habit, like walking in the morning and podcasting, it's very easy. The other thing is, um, the podcast is just a way of occupying time. And I was just reading somebody said, I don't know if it was Nietzsche, life is what you do until you while waiting to die. And I kind of understand that we just do all of this stuff. We want to keep busy. We don't want to be bored. That's for sure. So, is the goal really of everybody's to not be bored? So whether you're playing a video game or there is the also excitement. So I think people do like excitement and doing exciting things. Yeah, but in some cases, people don't like it. Okay, next one was to clean my desk, which I did not do. I think I read a little bit of the book. That's the name of it. The Most Powerful Goal Achievement System is the name of the book. Then another one was to look at the previous day's to-do list, which I didn't do. Yeah, so I do this a lot where I have a to-do list for the day, which isn't that bad, and a previous day's to-do list kind of falls by the wayside. And I guess a benefit from that, and maybe that's a good way to do it, is it's that every day to start a brand new to-do list. So that way you're kind of more focused on the important things. And one of my problems is I'm not good at prioritizing. So if I was to start this new to-do list every day, I wouldn't um, I wouldn't I wouldn't what? I wouldn't have things that I was doing that weren't a top priorities because focusing on what you want to do today is the ability to throw out all the things. Now, if I didn't do something yesterday, maybe it wasn't that important, which is possible. Or my subconscious decided. I mean, I wonder how much your subconscious decides what you're going to do. You can make it a to-do list, but it's probably the subconscious that gets you to do it or not do it. Like I could ask the question of why did I eat the junk food yesterday? And I guess maybe to get a pick-me-up. Could be a number of reasons. Okay, next one I have was to document the process of uploading a podcast. And it's interesting. I'll talk through a few of the things that I had to do for it. So the first thing I had to do was come up with an image. And since it's the Doggy Style podcast, I always try to find a picture of my dog. And then on that picture, add some text that would say Doggy Style Podcast episode and whatever the episode number was. So that was the first step, and I would save that file. Now, I tried to use a number of tools, and it was weird how it wasn't easy. It seemed like Paintbrush was the easiest tool to use. So I've been using Paintbrush. So I create that first picture, And then now the recording, right now I'm recording it using something called Smart Recorder, which is an Android app on my phone. Basically, I have a microphone headset. I guess the hearing I don't really need, it's just a microphone piece. So, so I just talk and record it. It records it in a WAV file, which is a very expensive in terms of size format. So now I have the WAV file. It would be nice if I could take that file as it is and upload it directly to YouTube. Um, and this could be something I'm going to work on a new project, is how to make this whole process easy. Okay, so I have the picture. Then I drag that picture into Movie Maker, which is Windows 10 Microsoft software. It's been around for a while. This version seems a little bit better. I know past versions used to blow up a lot. And then once I have the Movie Maker, then I can d- insert the sound. So there's some way to insert the sound. I don't recall offhand, but in Movie Maker, I don't know if you can drag it. I think you could just drag and drop it into Movie Maker. And then from that point, you have to expand the picture to all. So you have this one picture, and now it's going to be displayed during the whole sound file. And then the other thing is that I've had a couple of podcasts where I've had two sound files. You know, I paused it for whatever reason, started again, and then I have to put that same picture in again, and then put the sound file in again. And so that's it. So once that's done, I save the project. It saves it as something like a WIMP file. And then after that, I save it as a movie, and there's some default setting. Usually saves it as a MP4 file. So and that takes a while. It's like it seems like it's a 5-10 minute process. Um, After that, I have an MP4 file, and then I can just drag it into YouTube/upload, which somehow is defaulting to my station. I just drag it and it uploads it. And that's pretty much it. And then just to add some stuff is I've been using my listy to listen to it again and try to extract what I talk about, since it's pretty varied. And then I just right-click the video. I pause the video while it's playing, of where when I add the insertion point, or right-click it, and then I select. It's like a second. It's like the second or third thing. It says copy the link with a timing or something like that, and then I paste that into a list, and just keep doing that, and that's the process. But it just seems to have taken a long time. I was spending some time also working on getting some of my Periscope functionality loaded to YouTube, and trying to do it has a process to stabilize the videos. And while I was doing that, I ran into some guy's video that was really cool. He kind of uses a GoPro 6, I believe, with a gimbal, and the gimbal seems to stabilize in the video. And he's got kind of 4K, and it's just a video of the city, no sound. It's interesting. You really feel like you're in the city. Okay, so I did work on the Doggy Style podcast. I didn't balance my time. I did do some sort of phrase analysis in my book. So I was looking, I'm a writer, or trying to be one, and I was just trying to extract statements from all the books. And so I'll give you a taste of them. Well, I'm actually leaving the High Line now at 8:33. Hmm. And I got the first towelette out to wipe the sweat off my face. which you probably shouldn't do because the sweat cools you down by evaporating. Yes, that's getting into my eyes. That feels good. Let's get that sweat off my face. So I was looking through, I had two books I was looking through and just seeing how the sentences are structured. Oh, one thing I also did was I had written some stuff, and I'm running right now, sorry. I wrote some stuff on, let me just get through this intersection. Okay. So I just transcribed my material that I talked about during the podcast, and I was adding it to a book chapter. So I thought it's actually a good idea of writing books is just talking and then just writing the text that I say. Because when I read what I wrote, it just doesn't sound right. So I'm not sure what to do about that. Okay, so money can buy blank. You've just done it with the money you've spent on this book. Oh, so if my book is about VBA or knowledge, I could say money can buy knowledge, and you just bought it with this book you bought. Or at least you've taken the first most important step towards becoming a VBA expert. It's a perfect time for a book on this subject because the world has changed and technology has become so important and everything's getting automated. So if you know how to automate things, you're a step ahead of the game and might increase your job security. Whether you're learning VBA, what you're hoping for is I'm not sure what the rest is. So anyway, that's an example. And this was part of the forward. With this book, Al provides the crucial foundation for most effectively learning the key principles for success. It's a little hazy today. I'm going to be stuck in the sun for a few seconds now. Okay, it's getting very hard to see. I'll just get in the shade a little bit. So another one was time balance. Phrase analysis I talked about. There was a writing exercise to write a short biography on my best friend or something like that. So I did that. That was tough. Didn't help me that much. I guess if you're going to write, it was asking to come up with a catchy first sentence. I thought the sentence was okay. And that was about it. Okay, so let me go through my key principles book, and we'll see what comes up. So at some point with the key principles book, I need to stop creating new chapters and just finish up what I have. So I have 95 right now. I'm not sure how many to add, but I guess I would like to target a 200, 300 page book. Oh, okay. Well, okay, I'm in the shade again, which is good. On 9th Avenue behind the post office at 8:38. Not sure I should be saying what time I'm here, as I would be very easy to find. You have my location and my time. Okay, so let's go to key principles. As I said, I can see what I'm doing now since I'm in the shade, but I'm dragging a little bit, tired, sweaty. It's going to be a very hot day today. I'm going to say already it feels like it's 80. Okay, so the first one I have is what I call over and over. And this is my own problem of I tend to do something over and over again. Uh, and I'm not sure why. I don't know if you find you do this. So I'll start on a project, write a bunch of stuff on it, and then not sure where and then I won't, I guess I didn't finish it. So I'll get into a state where I might start it again in the future. And I've just done it again. Or I'll have, if I could search on something and see 5 or 6 versions of what I started doing, even with the book. I'm sure I have duplication. So I've always thought that if I could deal with that, that would be a good problem to deal with over and over. The real key to that is when I work on something, to make sure I have a consistent way of working on it, and then having a good way of checking if I've already worked on it, and that would be it. It is funny. There are, I said before, a lot of Hasidic Jews here. I think there's some sort of school nearby. They just must have gotten off a bus or something. Oh boy, must be hot. They wear these hats, those black hats, long black coats. But they all seem to be going to the same place. Now, um, I would say, yeah, so there's a building they're all going into. Okay. Um, I like my Excel book or Excel class. I have worked on that a lot. I feel like I have restarted it a number of times. So, okay, so I'm on the sunny side of the street again. Whee! It really does make a difference. So at this time, it looks like the west side of 9th Avenue is very sunny, where the east side is nice and shady. Okay, so next one is from Scott Adams' book, How to Fail at Everything, How to Fail at Almost Everything and Still Win Big, I think was the title. And he says, new skills doubled your odds of success. So it's just an interesting way to look at things. So that if you can, every time you add a new skill, you get more likely to be successful. I think that might have some validity. I don't really have much more to say about that. It was kind of from his book. I just read the book. But for myself, it reminds me that the podcast thing isn't that bad. That it does have value. And I think it would be cool to take, this is one of my favorite things to do, is to take something I do that's either long or boring or tedious and automate it. So if I could find a way to automate this whole podcast, and it could be that Fiverr idea is not bad. I didn't say it's great, but It's I could try one for $5 and see how it comes out. Now, I guess the question is, if I could make $6 from the podcast, then it's definitely worth it. So, so that's one of the things to see is how much money do I make from the podcast? How much time am I spending? What am I getting? What am I getting out of this? Okay, next one I have is lie detection techniques. And I have a bunch of things here. Just a bunch of stuff I wrote down. First one is they will not use contractions. So I didn't say they won't use. They will not use contractions as a reminder. Bill Clinton said, "I did not have sex with that woman," unquote. I didn't say the first quote. The lack of a contraction is considered a tell for lying. So that's kind of interesting that I, I don't know if it's always true. One thing, another thing that's a tell for lying, if somebody repeats your question, where were you last night? Where was I last night? Or they don't answer the question and they'll say something, why would you ask me that? So it's a deflection. Probably have that here. Not answering a yes or no question is the next one. Did you do it? Why would I do something like that? Repeating the question. Did you do it? Did I do it? Answering the questions with the questions. At least I just said, did you do it? Why aren't you interviewing the other suspects? So you can't get the truth out of somebody by asking a question and see what the answer is. You can ask a question. Somebody should usually say no if you want to know. Is there a chance of me getting fired this year? Well, they could say I don't know. I don't know if that was a gut feeling. What does your gut tell you? It is not always right, but it's worth paying attention to. So if you're feeling funny about something, like one thing, if somebody's doing drugs or you suspect drugs, then it's a very high likelihood that the person will also be lying to you. Because the lies are going to be, the only thing that's important to them is the drug, getting the next fix. And if lying gets them the next fix, they're going to lie. One thing you could do is ask somebody, are you telling the truth or are you lying? Um, Another one is using the words, saying something like, to tell you the truth, or I can't remember what it is, but there's an expression that people use. I think truly, um, or using some sort of words to say that what they're saying is true, could likely, or if that question, would I deceive you? Something like that. Well, why would I deceive? I'm not sure. Okay, and just I have some links on how to spot a liar, body language in lying, what liars do, is my spouse cheating, and then books on lie detection. Okay, next one. I was writing down why things failed, and I had two. And I guess I have to consider the Excel diet a failure in a way. A failure in terms of I didn't get any users of it, and I'm not at my ideal weight. So, now why? Why did it fail? could be for a number of reasons. Is It's just very hard to do what I was trying to do in terms of weight loss. But I haven't given up yet, so I think the positive attitude that it will eventually work. You got to find the right combination of things. And the other one was Time Creator. This is a weird one. I've been working on Time Creator for a very long time, different names. And the idea was pretty simple. Have a to-do list, track my time based on the to-do list, and then do a status report based on that. Or track track my time without really tracking it, so it would be automatic. Probably should look into that one again. And the way I thought the automatic would work would be based on the active window I was on. The system would track the active window, and then it would ask me to categorize it. And then if it was on any window, so problem is that I might go back and forth. Some windows it doesn't know what it's on. And then there's also the problem where your work could be done you could track it by project. You could track it by part of the project. So are you testing, are you documenting, are you in a meeting? This always was my favorite. I think I probably should, there I go again, finish this. 2018, I will finish my ideal time tracking system. It's been going on too long. And supposedly, one nice thing about tracking your time is you could get more efficient. If you have to do any kind of status report, you know what you're working on, which I find very annoying. You're getting interrupted, you know who's interrupting you. But then the effort of tracking becomes overwhelming. And there was a few issues, like forgetting to do it. And maybe it's just not possible. I mean, the other way is every time period, which I've been trying to do, which I have to get my alarm fixed again. My success alarm stopped working, and I'm not sure why. And I did want to fix that this weekend, but I didn't. Yeah, so it's almost that I really do need to time limit the podcast. And then I didn't talk about listening to the podcast. So if it's a hour, I got to spend another hour listening to myself again, writing notes. So that's probably 2 hours worth. So all in all, you take a 1 hour thing, and it just takes a lot of time. And you do have to remember opportunity costs, what could I have done instead? I could have maybe read a book, listened to a book. Hey, asshole. Somebody just banged me with their purse. Okay, next one is prepare for an interview. So just one key thing is if you want to get a job, and this is probably very key, that you should always be preparing weekly at least, daily preferably, to answer interview questions. So for example, if I'd like to get a job more in the financial stuff that I do, I don't have a deep financial knowledge. I have a very surface knowledge. So it could be very useful to spend some time each day just upgrading that knowledge, if you even can. It's like one of those things where trying to learn how to swim without swimming, try to learn about trading derivatives without actually trading them. am getting close to work. I'm a little bit, I'll probably be on time, hopefully. Yeah, it may be too hot to uh, to juggle at noon today, I'm thinking. Yeah, so it would just make sense to always be preparing for this if it's important. But it also comes with spending just so much time on a job that unless you find